Hello and welcome to East LA College football as we get set here. The initial kickoff will be handled by the Cerritos College Falcons. Taking it will be Brandon Jones. As Jones will make the fair catch in the end zone and get us underway. East LA will be in the gray uniforms with white numerals, and they will be in white pants this afternoon. And Cerritos College will be in the all-white. As Cerritos jogs onto the field, they're going to start off with their quarterback, TJ McMahon, 6 foot and 195 freshman out of Servite. In the backfield is Carl Odom, got some playing time last year with Javon Tucker on the left-hand side. He'll be joined on the right by Jacoby Hardy. Looking to take the snap is TJ McMahon. He'll drop back, turn to his left, and immediately drop it off to his left to Tucker, where Tucker will end up gaining 6 yards and he'll be knocked out of bounds. So Tucker immediately with a 6-yard pickup. And now you have McMahon who goes back into the backfield. McMahon with Odom behind him. Takes a look upfield. He's got Tucker over to his left once more. C.J. Parks now in the slot on the right-hand side. Handoff goes over to Odom. He tries to go on the left-hand side where he gets knocked hard by Aaron Hill. And Hill's going to knock him out, but it's going to be just enough for a first down.
Brought down by number 11, Aaron Hill. First down for the Falcons. Ball on the 36.
Cerritos now at the 36-yard line. Odom in the backfield. They're going to go single back, joined by Javon Tucker on the left-hand side and Jacoby Hardy on the right. He'll also be joined on that right side by Brandon Jones. McMahon drops back, looking at Jones, wants to find Hardy and does find Hardy. This time it's actually going to go to C.J. Parks, and Parks eludes one guy and finally gets dragged down after a gain of about 7 by Jorge Alvarez. So Alvarez gets him down, and now it's going to be a 2nd down and 3 coming up for Cerritos. Cerritos opened the game up by receiving as they won the toss and elected to immediately take the football. Defensively for East LA, Daniel Robledo on the defensive line, going one-on-one on the left-hand side. Timeout will be taken already by East LA, as Coach Godinez wasn't happy with the coverage that he was seeing out there. Looked like he had a couple of guys in John Tuitopu, in addition to Blessing Teala, as both of them were kind of looking at each other, trying to figure out what the coverage was going to be on the defensive line. Finally, Coach Godinez ends up calling a timeout. So just about 2 minutes in, the first timeout of the game is called, and East LA ends up giving one up. Ball is currently placed at the 43-yard line of Cerritos. It's a 2nd down and 3 to go.
Will immediately be escorted out of the venue by security. Those violating the decorum policy.
Everyone in the stands, near side of the field. Cerritos fans over to our left, East LA down the middle and to our right.
Thank you and enjoy the event.
TJ McMahon again out of Servite, a freshman. Starting behind Isaiah Bravo. Bravo, primary starter last year, ends up moving on to Division II, getting away from one tackle and finally getting dragged down is McMahon as he gets tackled by Emmanuel Carter. And Carter is there, and he will end up bringing him down right at the line of scrimmage. So it's going to stay at 3 yards to get to the sticks. But this time it's 3rd down, and TJ McMahon will run over to the sidelines where he will get some instruction. McMahon has a guy going over to his right. He ends up taking the snap, still trying to roll. Ends up getting taken down by Chris Jolly. Jolly gets there. He ends up getting the sack. It's going to be a loss of 5 yards, and that pushes them all the way back to a 4th and 9. So the punt team is going to come on for Cerritos. And going back to punt for the Cerritos Falcons in just a moment as we take a look at our left-hand side, where back to receive will be Dante Coxum. Kick is away, high in the air by Paul Rodriguez. Calling fires Coxum as he's going to see that roll all the way to the 25, make it the 24, where it will finally end up sitting down. No score here in the first quarter. You are watching and listening to the East LA Huskies here on SportsNetUSA.net. Jogging onto the field now are the East LA Huskies, their offense, getting set to take the field for the first time tonight. 6 p.m. start here. As going into the backfield is Pierre Robinson. He'll also be joined there by Wesley Blazik. Blazik sends Robinson into motion. It goes into a screen. It goes to Robinson, who gets taken down hard. Tackle was made by Alexander Ashcroft. And Ashcraft gets in there pretty quickly. He ends up tackling him for a loss of 1. So Robinson tries to go on the screen over to the right-hand side. Doesn't end up working. And now East LA is looking at a 2nd down and 11. 2 linebackers for Cerritos. Robinson will take it on the read. And he'll end up gaining 2 yards to make it 3rd down and 3. Or excuse me, 3rd down and 9. Etienne Valele, sophomore linebacker out of Norwalk, California. Also joined out there by Michael Iyer. On the offensive side for East LA, wide over towards the right is Victor Clanton. He'll also be joined out there by Ian Medlock. So Medlock and Clanton over to the right. Snap is taken. Robinson ends up taking it away. It'll go up to Blazik. Blazik trying to get out of trouble, but he gets dragged down from behind. And Cerritos is able to get their first sack of the afternoon. The tackle for a loss is made by Anthony Shipton, and it will be a 4th down and 8 to go. So very quickly, both of these two sides not able to establish anything on the offensive side of the football. And so we have another punt coming up. This time it is East LA who is getting set to kick it away. Juan Rangel will be the kicker for the Huskies. Back deep to receive for Cerritos is Jacoby Hardy in addition to Javon Tucker. 2 guys back as a false start will be called on the offense. The kicking team in East LA. Both of these 2 teams starting off the 2019 schedule. Last year, Cerritos making it to the Southern California Bowl. In fact, hosting the Southern California Bowl and beating the Golden West Rustlers on a game here that was hosted by SportsNetUSA.net. Rangel ends up getting the snap. He'll put the ball down, nose down, and it kind of dead ducks its way over to the 44. It'll go all the way back to Parks. Parks decides he's not going to pick it up, and it's an excellent punt as it's going to carry all the way to the 18-yard line. So kicked away from the 21. It ends up at the 18. That is a 59-yard punt for Rangel. Terrific leg there for Rangel, and he is able to get that one away.
Don't forget, the ELAC Cheer 50/50 raffle ticket on sale tonight, $5. 1 ticket for 1. Winners home at the end of the 3rd quarter.
Over on the left-hand side is Logan Applewhite, or make that Brandon Jones for Cerritos. Far side of the field, C.J. Parks, in addition to Jacoby Hardy. Snap is taken. McMahon looking over to his right, has to dodge away from traffic. Finally does find Javon Parker far side of the field where he gets to the sticks and adds 2. But quickly, it will end up being a flag being tossed inside of the backfield. And it looks like that penalty is going to go against Cerritos, where it will be a block in the back for the Cerritos Falcons. So that's going to push them back about 10 yards. And it'll make it a first down and 15 to go. So the catch by Javon Tucker is erased. And TJ McMahon walks back to the sideline.
Penalty indicated on the Falcons.
Manuel Cater, in addition to Jamal Evans and John Tuiatupo. All 3 of them on the defensive line looking to run in. They're joined by Tremaine Savea. Savea ends up getting back onto the rush where Hinkley Ropazzi takes it over the right-hand side, and he ends up gaining 5 after being finally tackled by Savea. 8:13 left to go here in the first quarter of play. No score between these two sides. Last time Cerritos had the ball, they ended up going and getting a single first down and then having to punt it away. And then East LA got the football and immediately went 3 and out. Ropazzi goes back into the backfield, single back, joined by TJ. McMahon drops back, looking over to his right, only has one guy, does find Brandon Jones. Jones into 2 guys, and he will end up picking up a total of 12 yards, which gets them to a 3rd down and 2 to go. They have to gain the 30-yard line to get a first down. So 3rd and 2 is pretty manageable considering that they had a 1st and 15 just a few moments ago.
Brings up a 3rd and 2 for the Falcons.
There's McMahon. He's turning over to his right, instead hands it to Parks. Parks has the edge. Parks finds the sticks and just gets taken out of bounds. Just, we'll say right about the 31-yard line, so he gets the first down and just a little bit more. And that will move these sticks forward for a first down for Cerritos. So McMahon with a nice fake, as most of the defensive line for East LA ended up rolling with him over to the right-hand side. 6 minutes and 45 seconds left to go in the first quarter of play. TJ McMahon in the backfield. Over to his left is Ropati. Also joined out there by Brandon Jones, Javon Tucker. Here's McMahon looking for Jones. He has one guy, that is Jones, and Jones makes the catch, turns around, and immediately gets swallowed up by 2. Zion Dixon and Chris Jolly were both there on the tackle. So that will bring a 2nd down and 3 to go, as that was a 7-yard pickup. East LA last year, in their first year, promoted to the National Conference. Ends up getting a 4-win season. Better than a lot of the critics around the CCCA thought they would perform. Going into motion with TJ McMahon is going to be Ropati. McMahon goes deep looking for Parks, overshoots him. Parks was wide open at the 40-yard line of East LA, but McMahon just overshoots him by about 5 yards or so.
Covering on the play, number 11, Aaron Hill.
Here's McMahon. In the backfield, joined by Ropati. Over to his right, going into motion is Brazil Smith. McMahon immediately wants to go to Ropati. There's a flag in the backfield. Ropati does find the first down, and it ends up going 7 yards upfield. However, there is that flag back behind TJ McMahon in the backfield. And we'll see what it is. Looks like it's a hold against Cerritos.
Number 41, George
And it is
Alvarez.
indeed against Cerritos, so that's going to back him up 10 yards. So instead of a 3rd down and 3 to go, now you're going to be looking at a 3rd down and 13. That's a killer for the Cerritos Falcons, as they had already picked up the 1st down and added 5 yards to it.
Holding is indicated.
Coming back up to the line of scrimmage is TJ McMahon and the rest of the Falcons. Far side of the field is Jacobs. Or make it Jones. Here's McMahon down the left sideline. Had a guy in Eric McLawyer, but McLawyer ends up looking up, and that pass is just over top of him. Goes right through his hands. If he makes that catch, he has nothing but daylight to look at down the sideline. But rather, it's going to be a punt coming up for Cerritos.
Back to receive the punt for the Huskies. That's
Brandon
number 82,
Petrescu will be kicking it away. Petrescu, 5'11", freshman out of La Mirada, just does get it away, as this is going to take a friendly Cerritos hop all the way down to the 20, make it the 18-yard line, where it will finally be down by the Cerritos Falcons. So a kick that ended up starting off at the 28.
Brandon Petrescu's punt.
Will go about 50 yards and then die. So Juan Rangel and Petrescu will end up both getting pretty good yardage on their punts in what has been a quick first quarter of play so far between either of these two sides. Clock has just continued to run. 4:52 left to go in the first quarter, as going back onto the field for East LA will end up being Wesley Blazik. Blazik out of Louisiana Lafayette, a bounce back here to East LA, looking to improve here at the community college level. Tries to toss it downfield. He was looking for Jalen Jolly, but Jolly has it go in and out of his hands. It will be a hold in the backfield.
Pass incomplete.
And that's going to make it a 2nd down and 10 to go, or make it a 1st down and 20 to go, excuse me. So that pushes East LA all the way back to the 9-yard line. They have to get up to the 27 to get a 1st down. Blazik in the backfield. He's joined by Robinson. Robinson picks up the blitz, tossed over to the left-hand side where it is caught by Brandon Peterson. And Peterson immediately falls just beyond the line of scrimmage, so he gains 1 yard on that catch. And Blazik and the offense of East LA are looking at a 2nd down and 19 to go.
Eric McLawyer covering on the play.
East LA cheerleaders trying to get the crowd into it. Wide over to the right-hand side is Zion Dixon. He's joined by Peterson as well. Looking over to his left, wants to go deep is Blazik. He does toss it deep, kind of underthrown, and it is picked off. Away with it goes Amario Kiki. Okiki tries to go down the sideline and ends up getting tackled at the 27-yard line. And Cerritos has the first turnover of this one. Better yet, the first takeaway, as the interception by Omario Kiki, the freshman, 6'2" out of Bellflower High School, is able to pick that one off. Blazik kind of underthrew it as he was trying to find Jamal Evans on that far side of the field. And it ends up getting taken away from the East LA Huskies. And now excellent field position coming up for the Cerritos Falcons, as TJ McMahon will run out there with Carl Odom. Odom will be over to his left as they are both in the gun. Brandon Jones far over to the left. Javon Tucker on the left-hand side, but in the slot. Odom's going to get the handoff. He finds the outside edge, ends up going into 2 guys. A flag late comes in from the backfield, where our white hat will end up tossing it. It would have been a gain of 2 yards. We'll see if that comes back, and from the way that the Cerritos Falcons offensive line is acting as they are going back about 10 yards. It seems as though it will be against the Cerritos Falcons.
There is a flag down after the play.
So they will march it back. It will indeed be a hold. That is our 4th hold of the first quarter. 3:58 left to go in the first quarter of play. Ryan Osborn joining you live from East LA, where the East LA College Huskies are taking on the Cerritos College Falcons. Jones out far to the left-hand side. He's joined by Jacoby Hardy. Javon Tucker out wide to the right, single back. That is Carl Odom. TJ McMahon takes the snap under heavy pressure down the sideline, bobbled for a second by Javon Tucker, and it will end up going out of bounds. It's an incomplete pass, makes it 2nd down and 20 yards to go for Cerritos.
Intended for number 7, Javon Tucker. Covering on the play for the Huskies, number 21, Devon Avery.
Jamal Evans out there. He's going to be rushing over on the right side of the defensive line for East LA, joined by Tui Tupou. Fake handoff to Parks. It goes to Carl Evans instead as he bowls over a guy and ends up taking off the helmet of Emmanuel Carter. As Carter will have to jog back to the sideline.
Number 4 on the
in the CCCA and the NCAA and NAIA. Any athlete on the field of play who ends up losing their helmet has to sit out at least a full play afterwards. So Carter will have to take a seat on the sideline for the upcoming snap. It's going to be a 3rd down and about 16 to go. TJ McMahon getting set to take the snap, but a timeout will be taken by the Cerritos Falcons. No score so far here in the first quarter of play. 2:42 left to go in the first. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. East LA, last year 4-win season once again. They put a good scare into teams like Mount Sac, Cerritos as well last year, and Long Beach City College. And multiple people in the state of California didn't think that this team would end up getting too much success once they got to the national conference. But it ended up that East LA, with those 4 wins, put a lot of scares into different teams. They actually played the toughest schedule in the entire nation. They had 5 different games against teams in the top 5. Snap is going to be taken by TJ McMahon. Carl Odom over to his left-hand side. He'll take the snap. Looking to toss it downfield. He does have a guy in CJ Parks, but way overshoots him. Some heavy contact, but it's an uncatchable ball at the 10-yard line. And there's actually going to be another holding call. So that will be holding call number 5 coming up against either one of these two teams.
Johnson covering on the play, along with number 11, Aaron Hill. Penalty is declined, brings up a 4th down for the Falcons.
So TJ McMahon, 4th down. Looks like the Cerritos Falcons are going to go for it. Don't have a guy who can end up kicking it around 57 yards. So they will end up sending McMahon out there with 4 wide. Jones over to the left, joined by Tucker. Right-hand side, it is Smith along with Parks. Snap is taken. McMahon's going to take it himself. Tries to work his way upfield, but ends up being caught just as he passes the 31-yard line. Terrific play is presented by East LA, and in fact, getting the tackle there will be Chris Jolly. And Chris Jolly forces the turnover on Cerritos. For those of you joining in, it's Cerritos 0, same score for East LA. .228 left to go here in the first quarter of play. East LA 0, Cerritos the same, as Wesley Blazek goes back out there. He'll be joined on the right-hand side by Ian Medlock, in addition to Victor Clanton. Snap is taken. It's going to go to CJ Parks. Or excuse me, Brian Jones on an end around. And Jones gets taken down at the 33-yard line. So that'll make it a second down and 7 to go. Blazek is out there. He's joined in the backfield by Mari Rams. Right-hand side, Jalen Jolly is out there as well. Snap will be taken, immediately laid to Peterson. Peterson ends up getting around one guy, finally gets taken down at the 42-yard line, where the tackle will be made by Demario King. So Demario King, nice job to get back there in time, and he makes the tackle, saving a touchdown as Peterson, just a quick little slant route, and there was no one down the middle for Cerritos to back it up. And he gets all the way to the 43-yard line, make it the 44-yard line of Cerritos. So a 26-yard pickup. Back into the backfield goes Pierre Robinson, right-hand side. He's going to pick up the blitz. Goes over towards the left where it is underthrown to Justin Watkins. And Watkins, we'll see it go off of his right hand and out of play. So it's an incomplete pass, and we'll stay at second down and 10. Nice afternoon here at East LA. We thank you once again for joining us here on SportsNetUSA.net. 3 different games here on SportsNetUSA.net this afternoon. We started off with Fullerton College taking on the Golden West Rustlers. Fullerton winning that one 38-31, just kind of escaping as Golden West had all the momentum in the fourth quarter but just ran out of time. Then you have the game before us as Blazek is going to take it himself and immediately get tracked down by the heavy feet of Etienne Valele. And Valele is noted as being one of the better linebackers that Cerritos has. According to their coaches, he is terrific at being able to find different slot receivers and keep track with them. As this is going to end up being a holding call, it'll keep it at second down, 2nd and 10. And pushes East LA all the way back to their own 47-yard line.
Holding indicated on the Huskies.
Brian Jones, Justin Watkins, and Brandon Peterson out there, all joined by Jalen Jolly. 4 wide, 1 in the backfield, Pierre Robinson, and here's Blazek. Blazek gets the snap, trying to roll out over to his right, runs out of time, does find one person in Jalen Jolly. Does he make the catch, though? He does indeed, and that will be a pickup of 6 yards.
Complete to number 10.
So it makes it
Jolly.
a 3rd down and 15 to go. They have to get up to the 33-yard line.
Number 10 of the Falcons.
No score as there's only 20 seconds left to go here in quarter number 1, and that just may do it for quarter number 1 as both of these two teams kind of looking at the sidelines. East LA players walking over to the sideline, and that will do it for the first quarter of play. No score between these two sides. East LA 0, Cerritos 0. You are watching and listening to East LA College football here on SportsNetUSA.net. We mentioned the 3 games that were taking place here on SportsNetUSA.net. Fullerton College and Golden West took place earlier, 38-31, Fullerton College with the victory. We have the game before us in East LA and Cerritos. And then coming up at 7 p.m., just about 31 minutes or so. Live from LA Valley, Aaron Rosenberg will be taking the call there as the LA Valley Monarchs get set to start another season. Once again, this has been one of the best programs in the American Conference over the last 5 years or so. If you include that state championship that they got in the American Conference 3 years ago, and then making it back to the American Conference Bowl, or at least being bowl eligible in 4 out of the last 5 years, having a winning season in each of those 5 years. East LA has been terrific, a huge turnaround for the Monarchs. They hadn't made a bowl game in over 20 years before this 5-year stretch. Back onto the field here, East LA with the football at the 48-yard line of Cerritos. Wesley Blazik is going to take the snap. He's in the gun. He's got Robinson over to his right, trying to find a teammate, runs out of time, can't get the ball out, and finally does get taken down. Wrapped around the ankles by Logan Applewhite, 6'3" freshman out of Cathedral Prep High School in LA, and Applewhite is able to push them out of considerable range for a field goal. They're currently looking at a 4th down and 21 to go after a 9-yard loss there. So we're going to see a punt coming up in the Cerritos backfield. Will end up being Brandon Jones and Javon Tucker. Juan Rangel to kick it away. Left-footed, boots the ball up, kind of sits in the air and takes a huge Cerritos Falcons bounce, and a big-time block that was thrown there by Bailey Torres. Torres just kind of turned around and found the next closest Husky. Just kind of laid him out at the 33-yard line. Ball does end up getting downed at the 34, 35-yard line. And that's where Cerritos will take over. TJ McMahon, the starting QB for the Cerritos College Falcons. Cerritos lost a lot of talent from last year, but most notably, they lost Ramondre Stevenson. Stevenson just turned into an all-state, all-nation type of running back last year for Cerritos. And he ended up being picked up by Oklahoma. He's already gotten multiple snaps for the Oklahoma Sooners. Here's McMahon trying to step away from pressure. He decides he's going to take it himself. Instead, he gets wrapped up by the ankles. And he will be taken down by Blessing Tayala. So Blessing Tayala tracks him down from behind the 6'3" defensive lineman out of Lighthouse Christian.
And number 25. Darian Franklin Kingsley.
TJ McMahon runs back over to the sideline where he ends up getting the play call. A visor is loose on the field. Javon Tucker goes out wide to the right. He's going to be joined by C.J. Parks in the slot on the left-hand side. Javon Tucker, far side of the field. There's a flag on the play. Carl Odom moves it up about 8 yards. But we'll see what the flag is. This is going to be flag number 7 here in the first half. 13-13 left to go in the first half of play. And in the second quarter as well. And it's going to be encroachment against the defense. So this time it's a defensive penalty. Goes against East LA. Penalty is accepted, as it's going to move the ball to the 41-yard line of Cerritos. Neither of these two teams have really been able to make, or at least gather, a lot of traction on the offensive side of the football. TJ McMahon has completed a total of 6 passes for about 45, 46 yards. Heavy movement by pretty much the entire offensive line for Cerritos. They're already moving back, so they know it's a false start going against the Falcons. And that's going to push them back very near to the original line of scrimmage. Makes it a 2nd down and 9 to go. TJ McMahon walking back to what has no longer become the norm in college football, a huddle. A lot of college football teams in the last 5 years, you can push it back to the last 7 years or so, have really adopted that, not necessarily West Coast style of offense, but at least an up-tempo, no-huddle type offense. Single back, It's Carl Odom. Odom's going to get the handoff. They'll move it over towards the left-hand side. Odom trying to work into traffic. Finally does get hauled down, but again, another flag, and it will be a hold against Cerritos. So they're going to push him back as the penalty is accepted. You go negative 10 yards, and that's going to push them all the way to the 26-yard line.
Sofa on the initial stop for.
So the Huskies get pushed back. 26-yard line. That's our 8th penalty of the first half. Now of those 8 penalties, we have had 6 holds. 1 encroachment. And you know, I thought that 8 penalties in the first half was a lot, but then I talked to Rashawn Haylock earlier this afternoon at the Fullerton Golden West game. He mentioned that there were a total of 18 penalties in the first half at the high school game that he was at last night. Long Beach Poly taking on Los Alamitos as TJ McMahon has that one go incomplete on the far side of the field.
Intended for Zach Reeves. Covering on the play, Aaron Hill.
So now you're looking at 3rd down and 20 to go. Ball is placed at the 26. They have to make it to the 46-yard line. TJ McMahon, joined by CJ Parks. In addition to Brandon Jones on the right-hand side. Javon Tucker, far side of the field. McMahon immediately looking over to his right to Ropati. Ropati finds the edge. Ropati spins away from one, but he only gets to the original line of scrimmage, and he will get taken down at the 35-yard line. There is an injured East LA College player on the left-hand side of the field. And another flag called. It's a hold again. And they're going to decline that, make it a 4th down on Cerritos. And so Cerritos is going to punt it away, presumably, as the punt team is yet to walk onto the field, and everyone's going to take a knee here, as there is an injured East LA Husky on the field. No score, 11:50 left to go here in the second quarter of play between East LA and the Cerritos Falcons. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football. You're on SportsNetUSA.net. We're going to have a lot more football coming up on the docket. Again, LA Valley football will be on here. Will be on SportsNetUSA.net in just about 23 minutes or so. Aaron Rosenberg, joined by Ed Ford, out live in the Van Nuys area. And when you look at East LA and their upcoming schedule here on SportsNetUSA.net, Saturday the 21st, they'll be taking on Compton here at 6 p.m. And the 28th, same time, as they will take on Mount Sac. And finally start off their conference play here on SportsNetUSA.net against Canyons on October the 26th, and finish off their schedule on November the 2nd against Bakersfield. All of those games can be caught here on SportsNetUSA.net live at 6 p.m. Punt coming up by Petrescu. Nearly blocked as this one gets away. Working all the way back for it for East LA will end up being Dante Coxum, and Coxum will not end up touching it. Finally, it will be downed at the 35-yard line. That's where East LA will take over.
Petrescu's punt is down by number 6, Chris Jolly.
So Jolly ends up downing it, and the East LA Huskies have a chance to go on offense once again. 11:28 left to go here in the second quarter of play. East LA and Cerritos. What is picking up to be a rather lovely afternoon. Great day for football. You're on SportsNetUSA.net. In the backfield for the East LA College Huskies, it will be Wesley Blazek, their quarterback. He'll be joined by Pierre Robinson in addition to Maury Rams. Rams left-hand side, he's going to be the lead blocker. As immediately getting taken down is Justin Watkins. Watkins gets the delayed handoff, and he gets tackled at the 32-yard line.
Watkins on the carry.
Second down here
Stop by number
at the
47.
32-yard line. Second and about 14 to go. Once again, you're watching East LA College football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Ryan Osborn joining you live from East LA. 3 wide for Blazik. Blazik has Watkins to his right in addition to Rams over to his left. He sends Watkins into motion on the left-hand side, but there's movement on the offensive line. And you can hear the frustration from the East LA coaches over to our left-hand side, as it looked like they were happy with what they were looking at coverage-wise, but it ends up just being a little bit of motion on the offensive line that kills it. So it'll go -5 yards, and it'll push it all the way back to the 27-yard line, where they will be looking at a second down and about 21 yards to go. Blazik gets the call from the sideline, takes the snap, delay of game possibly? Are we going to have another timeout? And it will be a timeout taken by East LA. So the Huskies take their second, or make it their first timeout of the first half. 10:13 left to go. No score between East LA and Cerritos. You are watching East LA College football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Lovely view here from East LA as you take a look from the press box, look down onto the field. Pretty nice stadium that they have here. Across the way, you can see the Giant Huskies word mark. In addition to the 2 soccer championships that the men's soccer team has for ELAC, 1974, 1990. In fact, 1974 was a pretty successful year for East LA College altogether. The men's soccer team won a state title, and the football team won a state and national championship. Once again, that was 1974. Pretty nice year for East LA College. Men's track and field. 6 years prior, 1968, they were the state champions. As back onto the field of play, it is Wesley Blazik who ends up taking the snap. Looks over to his left to Rams, goes into some heavy pressure, and instead it's Rudy Garcia who moves over to the right-hand side and tosses it out of bounds. So a brand new quarterback is in there as Rudy Garcia gets onto the field. 6 foot, 175 freshman out of Don Lugo High School. So now you're looking at a third down and about 20 or so. East LA College trying to figure out how to get themselves down the field without some trouble. Wesley Blazik only ended up completing 4 passes and got picked off once. Snap is taken, goes back to Garcia. He drops back, still looking for a teammate. Ends up going to Rams. Rams nearly gets hauled down. Instead goes into contact at the 30, make it the 28-yard line. And he will get taken down for a gain of 1. So that'll bring up 4th down once more. And once again, it's technically a 3-and-out for East LA, though there were a lot more snaps in between. It shows up as a 3-and-out because of all the penalties that took place. We're currently at 9 penalties here in the first half, and of those 9, 7 have been holding calls. Javon Tucker, joined by Brandon Jones in the backfield. Juan Rangel is going to kick it away. Bailey Torres on the right side of the field. It's going to be in coverage for Cerritos. So 2 back, here's Rangel. He ends up dropping it. Just barely does get it away. It's shanked over towards the left where it will pop down to the 49-yard line. So that's just going to end up being about a 20-yard punt or so. 9:03 left to go in the first half. 0-0 score.
So the Falcons will take over on their Husky 49-yard line. At 9 1:03 left in the
Here's TJ McMahon, joined by Carl Odom. Odom immediately gets the handoff, bounces off of a tackle, and he's going to move over towards the left-hand side. Goes right into the awaiting arms of Aaron Hill. And Hill sniffs it out, does in fact get a tackle for a loss. Odom got stuffed immediately after he was given the handoff and ends up getting away from enough contact to move over towards the left-hand side. He ends up gaining 2 yards from the original point of contact. However, he loses 2 yards from the original line of scrimmage. So all of that boils down to the ball is now at the 49-yard line of Cerritos, and it is a 2nd down and 12 to go with another injured player on the field, and this time it spells trouble for the Cerritos offense, as that's Brandon Jones, who's being attended to by the trainers. Reminder of the score. Currently, there is none. It's 0-0 between these two sides with 8:50 left to go in the first half of play. East LA and Cerritos College. Live from East LA at 7 p.m. We're going to have LA Valley football here on SportsNetUSA.net. That will conclude a 3-game afternoon here on SportsNetUSA.net. Aaron Rosenberg on the call there, the voice of the LA Valley Monarchs.
for Cerritos is Logan Applewhite.
Running back onto the field are the Cerritos Falcons. New wide receiver will be Eric McLawyer. So Eric Lawyer wide to the right. He's joined by C.J. Parks in the slot on the right-hand side as well. Immediate handoff goes to Carl Odom, and he will get stuffed after just gaining 1 yard. However, initially in the backfield was Malataisi Sofa.
Number 4 on the carry.
And
for
Sofa
Cerritos, Carl Odom.
went immediately after TJ McMahon on the read option.
Brought down by number 95.
Just wasn't able to sniff out the correct guy, so it will move the ball to the 48-yard line of East LA.
39.
TJ McMahon, the quarterback, communicating into the huddle. Behind him, he's got Carl Odom, CJ Parks on the right-hand side, joined by Elijah Dolphin all the way wide to the right. He's got Smith in the slot on the left, joined by Javon Tucker wide to the left. McMahon drops back, looking for a chance to throw, but gets taken down by Sofa. So Sofa just one play prior had tackled McMahon, but didn't end up getting the ball carrier. This time he sniffs it out, gets into the backfield, and that's going to bring up 4th down. 44-yard line is where the ball is placed. All the way back will be Coxum for East LA. As Petruescu will get set to kick it away. He's standing at the 30-yard line of Cerritos. The gate is open for the moment being. Punt is going to be put away. Goes end over end, ends up landing near Coxum, where it will be downed at the 11-yard line, make it the 12-yard line as the referees readjust.
Down by number
Nice job getting to it
87.
by Kamal Wilson.
Brazil Smith. And the
So the
Huskies will
12-yard
take
line
over
is where
on
the
their
Huskies
own
will
12-yard
take over
line.
on offense. East LA still looking for a chance to actually get themselves moving on the offensive side of the football.
At quarterback for the Huskies.
.656 left to go in the first half of play. And at quarterback is Rudy Garcia. Immediately hands it off over to the right-hand side. Goes Pierre Robinson. Robinson has a hole. He gets horse collared from behind. Is there going to be a call, though? Any flag on the field? There is not. The fans and the sideline called for the
Number 4,
flag, but they are not going to find it, and it will be a first down either way. Nice run by Pierre Robinson as he ends up catching the outside edge onto the right-hand side, worked his way around the initial guy in Nate Walker, and finally found his way down to the 23-yard line. Ball is placed, first down and 10 to go. Robinson will get it once again. This time he has some open space, right-hand side, taken down by Walker once more. But there is a flag in the backfield, and you know what? With the luck we've had so far, I'm going to say it's a holding call coming up. That would be penalty number 10 in the first half. And we'll see what the call is from our white hat. And wouldn't you know it, it's a hold once more. So that's our 8th hold of the first half. 6 of them coming in the first quarter alone, 2 here in the second quarter, and it will move the ball all the way back to the 22-yard line of East LA. So now you're looking at first down, and it will sit right around, we'll say 15 or 16 yards. A flag comes out of nowhere in the backfield from the umpire. And will it be unsportsmanlike? It is. So East LA not only gets penalized for the hold, but they're going to move all the way back to the 18-yard line now on the unsportsmanlike conduct. They need to get to the 33-yard line for a first down. They're currently at the 8. First down and 24. Actually make it first and 26. East LA hasn't done themselves any favors. Neither has Cerritos on the offensive side of the football. Here's Garcia trying to go long far side of the field, and he just wasn't able to find Jalen Jolly, who was streaking down the right side. Overshot him, and it will reset at the 8-yard line. Second down and 26 to go. Live from East LA, 0-0 score between East LA and Cerritos. 5:54 left to go in the first half of play. Rudy Garcia with Pierre Robinson make it Rams over to his right-hand side. This gets tossed over and into the hands of Munguia. And Daniel Munguia, the sophomore 5'10" wide receiver out of Don Lugo, will end up getting the catch and gaining 5 yards, which moves him up to the 19-yard line is where the ball will be placed on the left hash. All white uniforms with navy blue numerals, 2 side stripes, and college hoops on the shoulders for Cerritos. On the other side, East LA going with their all-gray uniforms, in addition to white pants and white socks. Garcia drops back, goes for Munguia, crossing over down towards the 21. He will dive and get to the 22-yard line, but that's where the ball will be placed on a 4th down. As East LA looked promising initially as Pierre Robinson got himself a first down, then all of a sudden another nice Pierre Robinson run for 7 yards. Ends up getting negated by a hold, which pushes them back 10. And then you have an additional 10, which was placed on top of that by the unsportsmanlike conduct. And that just halts the drive that East LA had the potential for. Juan Rangel is going to kick it away. He's the only guy illuminated in sun on the field right now. This is spiraled over towards the left-hand side. Javon Tucker, fair catch he will call at the 49-yard line of Cerritos. So they do end up flipping the field for just a moment, and that's where Cerritos will take over. With 4:22 left to go in the first half of play. Still no score between Cerritos and East LA. You're watching and listening to East LA football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Live here at East LA, Cerritos now taking over on offense. They haven't been able to move the ball around too much. Neither of these two teams have. Defenses have been pretty good so far. In addition to both of these two sides shooting themselves in the foot, as Parks is going to get the handoff and run into traffic at the 46-yard line of East LA. So he crosses midfield.
Number 6 on the carry, Jacoby Hardy.
Jacoby Hardy is the one who ends up getting the carry there. Ropati will run over to the far sideline where he will check out. McMahon looking at the huddle. He's going to go with Parks on the right-hand side, joined by Javon Tucker. Far over towards the left-hand side is Elijah Dolphin. Snap is taken. It's going to go immediately to Hardy, and Hardy gets stuffed right at the 46. He gets to the line of scrimmage and doesn't get any other help. Daniel Robledo was there, the freshman, 6'5", out of Cholla High School in Arizona. So the interstate product ends up getting the tackle, and that's going to force a 3rd down and 5 to go from the 46-yard line of East LA. Hardy goes into the backfield, single back set. TJ McMahon looking over to his right where he has Parks and Tucker. Bluffing the blitz is East LA. They're coming with the blitz. Here's McMahon. McMahon loads up deep looking for Tucker. Tucker coming back for it. One-handed grab. That ends up on the floor. Great effort by Tucker to try and get back to that football, but he ends up turning around and just couldn't find it in time to make the catch. He had a guy draped all over top of him, and it will be a 4th down and 5 to go as Petruescu comes back onto the field of play, and he will kick it away. This time a new back is out there, Shamar Weston. The 5'11" freshman out of Upland will be in the backfield. Or excuse me, Voss Price is out there. Moves over to the 6-yard line where it will end up bouncing its way through the end zone. So 2:43 left here in the first half of play. And our score is still 0-0 between Cerritos and East LA. You're watching and listening to East LA College Football on SportsNetUSA.net. So the ball will go to the 20-yard line. The story of this one so far has been the yellow flag. The handkerchief tossed by referees. Both of these two teams combining for a total of 11 penalties in the first half, 8 of them on holding calls. 2:43 left in quarter number 2. Rudy Garcia taking over at quarterback. He's got Rams over to his right-hand side. He'll take the snap, looking for a chance to move it over towards the right, and he does have Cedric Hood, who makes a jumping catch at the 32, where they will immediately go no huddle and try and move it up to the line of scrimmage once more. Juan Rangel watching on from the sidelines, warming up his kicking foot. This will go over to Voss Price. Price trying to work past one, gets swallowed up there by the awaiting arms of Omario Kiki, but there will be yet another penalty. That is penalty number 12 here in the first half of play.
By number 2, Jonathan Martin. There is a flag after the fact.
So the penalty moves it all the way back to the 25-yard line. So penalty number 12. Rudy Garcia back in at quarterback. 4 receivers set. He's got Robinson behind him and to his right. He'll take the snap in the gun, decides to go with Robinson, who immediately gets taken down by the awaiting arms of their Cerritos College Falcons, Logan Applewhite.
Number 4, Pierre Robinson on the carry.
Wide over to the right-hand side for East LA is Jonathan Blackman. He's joined on the far side by Chris Jolly, in addition to Cedric Hood. Voss Price in the slot on the left. He's got Robinson again in the backfield. 1:25 left to go here in the first half of play. Clock still ticking down. East LA has 2 timeouts. or make it one timeout left here in the first half, and they immediately hand it to Robinson, and it gets sniffed by Applewhite once more. Ball is out. They're going to say that East LA had it as Robinson dropped the football after being taken to the floor. And with 1:11 to play here in the first half, it's still 0-0 as a timeout will be taken by the East LA Huskies. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football. You're on SportsNetUSA.net. Just spoke to Mark Pavlovich, the voice of Fullerton College Football, recapping our day. We had Fullerton College Football taking on Golden West. The Battle of the Booths, as it's called around these parts, here on SportsNetUSA.net. Rashawn Haylock, Mark Pavlovich, Corey Nayland, Noah Alvarez, myself, Joseph Pavlenko, Ed Ford. Quite literally anybody who could be in the booth was in the booth at Yorba Linda as we had the annual Battle of the Booths, which was won by Fullerton College, a final of 38-31. Now we have East LA and Cerritos battling to a 0-0 tie with 1:11 left to go in the second quarter. And LA Valley football will be getting underway in just a moment with Aaron Rosenberg. You can tune into that here on SportsNetUSA.net. In fact, go to the videos page and you can see two different games at once. Here's Rudy Garcia. He's going to take it himself. Ducks under one. Ends up making a guy miss. Trying to get to the sideline, but he gets taken down by Ian Medlock, or make it Noah Lopez. Will there be a timeout taken? There is indeed by Cerritos, as that was third down. So that means Cerritos is going to get the ball before the half ends. And we'll see whether or not they are able to do anything with it. Timeout again by Cerritos. I don't believe that the Falcons know that they did take the timeout, as the officials are trying to sort everything out, including the clock. 1:02 is showing with the scoreboard over to our right-hand side before the second quarter ends, and now East LA will jog back onto the field where Juan Rangel will get set to kick it away. Javon Tucker on the left-hand side. He's joined by Jacoby Hardy. Rangel, left footer, gets it high into the air, high spiral, end over end, where it will go over to Hardy. A fair catch is made, but a flag comes flying in for flag number 13.
Camille Brown. There is a penalty marker at midfield.
So we'll see what the penalty is from the white hat. And it's, you guessed it, another hold. So 14 penalties here in the first half, and a total of 10 of them being holds. 54.8 seconds left to go here in the second quarter. No score between these two sides. East LA just under a minute to work with before we go to halftime. Couple of guys check out for East LA. Coming back onto the field is Emmanuel Cater. TJ McMahon. Noise being made by the East LA sideline. Here's Ropati. Ropati in some open space. Tries to duck past some contact and does get himself all the way down to the 42-yard line. Cerritos trying to work quickly as they do not have a timeout left. TJ McMahon gets up to the line of scrimmage. 38 seconds left to go in the first half of play. TJ McMahon looking to snap the football. Goes over towards the left. Ropati is there. He's going to take the run once again. And there's a fumble on the field. Did East LA recover it? We'll see who they award possession to. And they're going to say he was down on the floor. Ropati drops the football. And with 10 seconds left to go in the first half, TJ McMahon trying to sort everyone out. He's got a 3-wide set with Javon Tucker on the left-hand side. 5 seconds to snap it. People still in motion. They're probably not going to get it away. TJ McMahon takes the snap. That'll do it for the first half, and he's not able to get it off in time. A total of 30 minutes are played between these two sides. Neither of them able to get on the scoreboard. Still 0-0 between East LA and Cerritos. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football on SportsNetUSA.net. Ryan Osborn joining you here at the half as Cerritos not able to move the football. East LA not able to move the football. Both of these two defenses looking decently with one interception, one total takeaway from either of these two sides. That was by Cerritos in the first half, where Omario Kiki ends up getting the interception. That was late in the first quarter of play. But neither of these two defenses have looked exceptional. They've looked good, but they haven't looked exceptional. What has been the storyline here in the first half has been the penalties for both of these two sides. A total of 14 penalties called between these two. 10 holds if you combine Cerritos and East LA College. It has been a wild first half in regards to both of these two sides. Sideline discipline and on-field discipline as well. Cerritos is heading into the locker room as they get set to go into the half, and we will take a break here at halftime as well. The score right now, 0-0 between Cerritos and East LA College. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. And we welcome you back to East LA College, where the East LA Huskies will be taking the ball to start off the second half of play. It'll be kicked off by Petruescu, going from right to left, and East LA will be on offense going from left to right here in the third quarter. No score between Cerritos and East LA as the first half marred by penalties between both sides. Ball is kicked up. It ends up squibbing into the hands of an O-lineman who is going to go into some contact and truck a guy. That is going to be Tremaine Savea, as Savea has himself in absolute carry. He picked it up at the 18-yard line, turned over to his right, and just went barreling into Cavill Brown. Brown out of Mater Dei High School. So that lightens up the crowd as Rudy Garcia will get set to go back onto the field. He'll be joined on the far side by Brandon Peterson, in addition to Jalen Jolly and Cedric Hood. Ball goes over towards Jolly, but just past his outstretched hand, and it will be an incomplete pass. So we're sitting at the 34-yard line. Ball needs to get to the 44 for a first down. Rudy Garcia now taking the snaps at quarterback. Earlier, it was Wesley Blazik who was the starter for East LA. Turned over to Rudy Garcia in the second quarter. Nearly jumping off sides for Cerritos is Logan Applewhite. Taking a long look is the offensive line, and Rudy Garcia down the near sideline as they look at Coach Godinez and end up getting the play call. Here's Garcia taking the snap, looking over towards his left. He'll immediately toss it and find a guy in Munguia, but Munguia gets buried after gaining 4 yards. Couldn't get upfield, and he will be stopped at the 37-yard line. 14:30 left to go here in the third quarter, just underway in the second half of play between Cerritos and East LA. Coverage moving around. It's a cover 2 for Cerritos. They have Robinson in the backfield. In addition to the right-hand side, Brandon Peterson, who's in the slot. Far over to the right is Jalen Jolly. Out towards the left-hand side is Daniel Munguia. And he is joined by Justin Watkins. Snap is taken by Garcia. He's going to step back. Blitz is coming. Down the middle of the field, Munguia makes the catch at the 49. And Garcia gets decked as soon as he lets that throw go, but he still steps into his throw, completes the follow-through, and gets a line drive over to Munguia. Nice job by Garcia to keep his pocket presence and deliver the ball downfield. Under 14 to play here in the third quarter. No score. East LA trying to be the first team to get on the board. Garcia showing blitz. Are the Cerritos Falcons. It's going to come from the left-hand side. Pump fake and a toss over towards the left. That's going to go over the top of Justin Watkins. Watkins got knocked off of his route. Ball again at the 49-yard line of Cerritos. So we're sitting at 2nd down and 10 to go. LA Valley football also live here on SportsNetUSA.net. Go to the videos page and you can watch both East LA and LA Valley at the same time. Now, we've had it in the past. It's a rare occasion where we will have all 4 games at the exact same time here on SportsNetUSA.net. I can only imagine the type of headaches that would present for everyone involved on SportsNetUSA.net. But you could, in theory, watch all 4 games at the same time on the videos page here on SportsNetUSA.net. Your leader for community college football. Pitched over towards the left. It goes to Robinson. Robinson trying to stay in bounds. He gains a total of 1 yard and will get himself up to the 48-yard line. $13-10 left here in the third quarter. 2 minutes elapsed here in the second half of play. First half, neither team could get their offense going. We saw TJ McMahon try to work his way downfield, only completed about 40% of his passes for just over 60 yards. You switch it over to the other side. Wesley Blazek had an interception. He had 4 completions as well for about 40 yards or so, but nothing doing after that. Here's Garcia trying to get away from pressure. just does get the pass off. He was looking for Brian Jones, but Jones turns around and it will end up going to the floor for 4th down. An incomplete pass. Just as East LA started marching their way upfield, the offense ends up stalling at the 49-yard line. 12:36 left to go here in the third quarter of play. No score between these two sides. Back deep to receive will end up being Javon Tucker in addition to Jacoby Hardy. Juan Rangel will end up kicking it away. Ball gets snapped, goes to Rangel. Nice snap, nice kick. As it's going to go and flutter its way down to the 11-yard line. Javon Tucker backpedaling. He wants to go over to his left. He ends up running into his own guy. Still in some traffic. He stays on his feet to the 32-yard line, where he will finally be taken down and the whistles will blow. But we do have a penalty in the backfield. It was tossed from about the 20-yard line down to the 29.
Brought down by number 20. Damon Callahan. There is a flag at the end of the run.
We'll see what the call is from the white hat. 12:21 showing on the clock here in the third quarter. 0-0. Is it another hold? Hold number 11 here in this one. Quite the amount between these two sides. 11 punts as well. So neither of these two offenses able to get themselves going. It's like watching them just try and churn the wheels, but instead end up getting derailed each and every time by the yellow handkerchief. So TJ McMahon and the Cerritos Falcons will take over again. And in fact, this will be their first time here in the second half of play, getting themselves onto the field. TJ McMahon joined by Carl Odom behind him. In addition to his left-hand side with Brandon Jones, who is out wide. They're going to have an injury timeout for a second, as getting helped off the field is Devin Gill. .12:21 here in the third quarter. TJ McMahon steps up to the line. He's got Javon Tucker in the slot on the right-hand side. Far off to the right is CJ Parks. McMahon taking a look at his offensive line. He'll go under center. He's got Carl Odom behind him. Takes the snap, immediately looking over to his left. It's a quick pass out to Jones, but Jones has to go off his right hand, kind of underthrown and behind him. And with 12:17 here in the third quarter, the clock will stop once again for an incomplete pass. 1st and 10 at the 19 of Cerritos.
Number 20, Javon Callahan.
11 punts in this one. 11 holding calls. 15 total penalties. 0-0 score. Wide receivers all shuffle the decks and end up getting distributed as Tucker wide to the right. CJ Parks in the slot on the right-hand side, and Jones wide out to the left. TJ McMahon walking up to the line of scrimmage, calling an audible. He's got Carl Odom over to his right and 5 on the play clock. Takes a look, gets the snap kind of high. He still delivers over the middle. It goes in and out of the hands of Parks and right past the awaiting arms of Shamar Westone. Another incomplete pass for TJ McMahon and this offense, and we go to a 3rd down and 10 to go.
For number 5, Park.
Just a couple of moments, we'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard here in the CCCAA. No score between these two sides. Cerritos and East LA trying to get on the board. Here's McMahon dropping up back over to his right. He goes to Parks. Parks hauls it in at the 29-yard line. That should be enough for a 1st down, and the chains will move along. First down in a while for Cerritos. 11:50 showing on the clock here in the third quarter of play.
Completion is good for a Falcons 1st down.
Guy in coverage. Cornerback on the right side of the field for East LA is Damon Callahan. Dropping back is Jorge Alvarez. Into the arms of McMahon. He's going to hand it off. It's an end around over to Tucker. Tucker trying to find some open space. Going over to his left-hand side. Trying to set up a block. Gets around 2. Gets around 1 more. He's got some open space on the right-hand side of the field. If he can twist out of a tackle, he ends up getting hauled down just in time by the awaiting hands of Aaron Hill. If Aaron Hill doesn't wrap him up with enough contact at the 47-yard line, that is daylight for Tucker to run with. Terrific job by Hill as he is able to stick with Tucker. And Tucker working very well with open space, but wouldn't you know it, it's another holding call. That is holding call number 12. 11 punts, 12 holding calls, 16 penalties in this one. So that's going to bring it to a 1st down and 10 to go. Actually, you can make it 1st and 11 at the 29-yard line. .11 minutes on the clock here in the third quarter. Both teams have 3 timeouts. TJ McMahon, the crowd getting into it here on the near side of the field. McMahon trips, falls down, and he will drop at the 27. It'll be a loss of 2. Let's take a quick look at the out-of-town scoreboard as we look at the games that already happened. Feather River and Sequoias. Sequoias will go to 1-0 as they take a 30-24 victory. That game had to go into overtime, where a touchdown was scored by Sequoias, and they would end up hanging on as Feather River couldn't get themselves on the board. We already told you, Fullerton and Golden West, 38-31 the final score there. Actually make it 38-33. 10-14 showing, and we're going to have some movement on the offensive line. Penalty number 17 on the ticker, as it will end up being encroachment. So encroachment on the defense this time. Penalty number 15 overall. 11 holding calls, or make it 12 holding calls, 10 punts, a lot of stoppages. Under 10 to play in the third quarter. McMahon goes under center. He's got Odom in the backfield. CJ Parks over to his left. He immediately hands off to Odom. Odom goes behind a blocker, and he will drop the football. East LA has it. They recover at the 40-yard line, and the East LA Huskies are going to take over. They're still trying to figure out where that football is, and the Huskies do have it, as going and dropping to the floor is Zion Dixon, and he will come away with the takeaway.
Zion Dixon on the fumble recovery. East Los Angeles will take over.
So Zion Dixon with the first takeaway for East LA in 2019. And we are now even in the takeaway category, 9:41 here in the third quarter. And East LA has some good field position. They are currently at the 40-yard line, where Rudy Garcia and the offense for East LA will take over. In the backfield on the right-hand side is going to be Pierre Robinson. Going into motion is Munguia. Munguia won't get it. Instead, it's going to go right down the middle to Brendan Peterson. And Peterson gets tackled at the 32-yard line, where it will make it a 2nd down and 2 to go. Now you're starting to see the pace pick up a little bit between these two sides. A lot fewer ticks going off the clock in between snaps. Rudy Garcia going no huddle with the rest of the East LA offense. He's got 3 receivers on the right-hand side, one of them being Cedric Hood wide to the right. Little motion, far side of the field. Rudy Garcia nearly gets taken down. Does he get back to the line of scrimmage? He does not, and he will lose 2 yards. That's going to make it a 3rd down and 4 to go. We continue with the out-of-town scoreboard. Contra Costa and Cabrillo. Cabrillo will take a 31-7 victory, and they would go to 1-0. Butte all over top of San Joaquin Delta. 46-10 the final score. They scored 25 points in the second quarter of play, and they end up winning it 46-10. Rudy Garcia back here for East LA, going into the gun. He's going to look over to his right-hand side, get some pressure. Does he get taken down? Yes, he does. Wiped out from behind. Some excellent track down ability there in the backfield for Badaya Tugafau. And that's a hole that goes against the offense. Will it be declined? It will indeed. So that's a huge loss for East LA. And it's going to push them back and make it a 3rd down and about 15 or 16 to go. Actually make it 4th down if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not, as the yard marker across the field ends up being changed. And neither of these two teams able to capitalize on the other team's mistakes. Togafau with the huge sack moments ago, a loss of 8 yards total. And East LA is going to have to punt. Javon Tucker will be out there. And he's going to be joined by Jacoby Hardy as well. There's another penalty. So that is penalty number 17 thrown on the field.
5 yards marched off to East Los Angeles.
And it will be a false start going against the East LA Huskies kicking team.
For the Falcons.
Juan Rangel, he's going to kick it away. Gate opens up for East LA. Right at the 50-yard line. Ball is released at the 35, and it floats into the air, takes a nice East LA hop, but immediately goes out of bounds at the 20-yard line of Cerritos. So the Falcons are going to take over. Someone is going to get on the board eventually here in this one. The question is who can capitalize on the other squad's mistakes. Neither team has been able to do it so far. It's a 0-0 score between East LA and Cerritos. 7:23 left to go here in the third quarter. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football. You're on SportsNetUSA.net. Again, 7:23 to go here in the third. We have had a total of 16 penalties called. 13 holding calls as well. One of them declined. Here's Carl Odom. He's going to go right down the middle, and he will end up being tackled on a dive play after gaining a total of 2 yards. 2nd down and 8 coming up from the 22-yard line. He's got to get to the 30.
'95 on the tackle for the Huskies. That was Tremaine Sevilla.
So Sevilla gets credited with the tackle for East LA. Your Huskies trying to make a stand here and get themselves some pretty good field position. Carl Odom in the backfield, joined by TJ McMahon. McMahon gets the snap, fakes to Odom, still rolling to his right. He'll end up finding Tucker. Tucker gets away from one, still ends up moving past 2 different defenders on the far side of the field, one of them being Chris Jolly, and he is finally moved out of bounds at the 35-yard line. So that will be a gain of 15 yards, and it will move the chains to, once again, the 35-yard line. East LA defending from left to right. Offense for Cerritos going from right to left. Back in coverage is Jorge Alvarez. He's joined on the right-hand side by Damon Callahan. Sevilla trying to track down Ropati. Ropati gets past a couple of guys, a gain of 15 yards as he finds the edge on the left-hand side, and all of a sudden this Cerritos Falcons offense has gained 2 straight first downs.
That was Hinckley Ropati.
Under 6 to play in the third quarter. Ropati finding some open space. Now ball is placed at the 50-yard line.
Brought down by number 20, Damon Callahan.
Tucker has looked good in this one. So has Ropati and Odom. Neither of them have really had much space to work with, though. Parks on the left-hand side. Ball is snapped, and it's lost. East LA trying to find it. They pick it up. It's going to be picked up by Shamar Westone. Westone goes down the left-hand side of the field. He gets tackled at the 30, make it the 46-yard line. A flag gets tossed into the air near side of the field. That is flag number 18. And it will be a turnover. A fumble going against Cerritos. But we'll see what the flag is first. The flag came on the field as East LA was trying to change personnel once the play had ended. Might be an unsportsmanlike, or it could be a sideline warning. 5:12 left here in the third quarter, no score. Taking a look at the white hat and what his signal will be. If I'm not mistaken, it is a sideline warning going against East LA. So that means they are going to send out their offense after a loss of about 16 yards or 15 yards. So the ball's going to go to the 42-yard line. And East LA College, with their second forced fumble and recovery as well, they have a chance to go on offense and make some noise here. 5:12 showing on the clock. No score between Cerritos and East LA. Everybody running out there for your Huskies as Rudy Garcia goes into the backfield. He's joined by Robinson. Near side of the field in the slot is Justin Watkins. Handoff goes to Robinson. Robinson into some open space. Jukes past the defender into the 45-yard line. That's a big gain. It's going to be about 13 yards as Robinson ends up getting past free safety Omario Kiki, who had the interception in the first quarter that Cerritos wasn't able to capitalize on. .440 remaining in the third. Here's Rudy Garcia once more, thinking about Robinson. He does find Robinson. This time Robinson goes into the line of scrimmage and only gains 1 yard. All the personnel changes for Cerritos entering the field of play. Receivers out there for East LA. Brendan Peterson on the right-hand side. Also joined by Daniel Munguia, far side of the field. In addition to Watkins as well. And Brian Jones. Jones is in the slot, left-hand side, right on the left hash mark. Garcia trying to find some space, gets hauled down from behind. And that is going to be a sack for Logan Applewhite, his second of the afternoon. As Applewhite has found some very good pressure. He's got 3.5 tackles for a loss in this one, in addition to 2 sacks. Under 4 to play. In quarter number 3. Rudy Garcia into the gun. He's got Robinson over to his right. In addition to Hood, far to the right-hand side. He's looking at Hood, instead goes to Robinson. Robinson into some open space, goes down the sideline and drops the football. Ball is picked up by Cerritos. And that is Darren Smith, who gets leveled with a low hit. And another flag is going to be thrown. That is going to be flag number 18 of the afternoon. It's a turnover for East LA College as Robinson was working his way upfield to the 40-yard line. Gets caught from behind. The ball gets punched out. And that should be a penalty going against East LA. White hat walking up. And it's an illegal low hit. But instead of it going against East LA, it actually goes against Cerritos. So that's going to be one of the new rule changes that they had in the last couple of years, where as a blocker who is looking to return the football, you cannot block anywhere beneath the thigh area. So that gets enforced. It's now 1st down and 10 at the 19-yard line where Cerritos will take over. And that rule is mainly there to protect the safety and the knees of football players as Odom tackled or almost tackled in the backfield. Stiff arms one guy, races over to the line of scrimmage where he will get taken down at the 19. It looked like he would initially be brought down at the 9 as he had heavy pressure from behind by Blessing Tayala. But Tayala not able to bring him down to the turf, and we're looking at a 2nd down and 10 to go. Ball at the 19-yard line. Under 3 to play in the 3rd quarter. Neither team able to get on the scoreboard yet. There's a new quarterback in for Cerritos, as it's going to be Jonathan Martin. Snap is bobbled. Here's Odom. Odom trying to get past one guy, but he ends up being tackled. Are they going to mark him down at the 2 or the 3? They go with the 4-yard line instead. And that is a huge miscue for Cerritos and East LA. If they can feed on that here, we'll have a 3rd down and about 25, 26 yards that will be presented to Cerritos. Now, if you're East LA College, you're immediately going to be thinking that this is going to be a run from Cerritos. That's the first thought in the head, as Cerritos wants to get it outside of their own 5-yard line before they get the ball into the air. Defense is the chant from the near sideline, as there are quite the handful of people here at East LA trying to get into this ball game. Under a minute 30 left to go here in the third quarter. McMahon drops back, turns over to his left, and Tucker will go out of bounds as he will end up getting the catch at the 11-yard line. A total gain of 7 yards. This will be a 4th down coming up for Cerritos. So the East LA defense does their job. They hold Cerritos to a technical 3-and-out, and they will get good field position as it'll be Voss Price who moves back to just the 45-yard line of Cerritos to return this kick. Petruescu looking to get it away high into the air. Voss Price calls for a fair catch, and at the 47-yard line, he will make the fair catch, and that will start the offense for East LA. Very good field position on the Cerritos half of the field, but with 41.7 seconds left to go, it's still scoreless as East LA and Cerritos not able to get on the board thus yet. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Ryan Osborn, Albert Robles over to my left-hand side, technical director this afternoon, as we take a look at East LA's offense getting back onto the field. They haven't been able to move around the yellow penalty marker. Granted, neither team has been able to do so, and it seems like it's a broken record between these two sides. Miscommunication between Garcia and one of his wide receivers, Cedric Hood. Hood thought that it was going to be a slant towards the middle. Garcia ended up going with a fade towards the sideline, and that ball will fall incomplete. We sit at the 46-yard line altogether, where it is a 1st down and 10 to go. Ball gets placed into the arms of Rams. Mari Rams, 5'10" freshman out of Monrovia, and he gains just about 3, maybe 4 yards. And that's a 3rd down and 7 to go. Different personnel, all 11 running onto the field for Cerritos at the same time. However, that should bring us to the end of the third quarter of play. Clock winds down from 3 to 2 to 1 to 0, and we go to the end of the third. It's still 0-0 between East LA and Cerritos. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net.
9-7-9-4.
No score, Cerritos, East LA. The East LA Huskies are going to have a 3rd down. And as of right now, the marker is placed at 3rd down and 1. I believe it should be a 3rd down and 7. They will reposition it. And the ball is going to be spotted at the 43-yard line. So East LA is going to need to get themselves going here. They've only got 15 minutes to work with for both the Falcons and the Huskies. But if you're an East LA fan, you want to see Rudy Garcia move this offense down the field. He's got 2 guys in the backfield with him, one of them being Robinson, the other being Rams. He's going to give it to Robinson on a pitch on the left-hand side, make it Watkins. He's going to run his way up to the 32-yard line, and that will draw applause from the coaching staff over to my left-hand side. That will be a gain of 11 yards, and under 15 to play, it's a 1st down East LA. So Justin Watkins instead gets the end around. Rudy Garcia taking a look at the sideline. He's got 20 seconds left on the play clock. Garcia, 2 different guys in the backfield with him, one of them being Watkins. He's going to immediately hand it off to Velasco. Velasco goes around a block and gets tackled at the 29-yard line for a gain of 3 yards. Second down and 7 to go. Terrific stadium here at East LA. One that in theory could hold well over, we'll say about 25,000 people. 13:50 left to go, a full crowd beneath us on the East LA sideline. This will be Velasco again. He tries to go on the left-hand side. Can he work past some pressure? He can't after an initial gain of 2 yards. Velasco trying to show that he's still on his feet. Cerritos trying to claim that he was forced into a fumble, but that ball comes out well after he was taken to the ground. Under 13.5 to play, East LA with a 3rd down and 5 to go. Currently situated at the 26-yard line. Make it the 27 of Cerritos. It will be Rudy Garcia. He'll be joined by Rams. Left-hand side. He's got a receiver in Jonathan Blackman in addition to Watkins. Far side of the field, he's got Peterson. He ends up handing it off to Rams. Rams gets spun around and taken down after a gain of 1. So that will end up bringing out Juan Rangel. Will it be a punt or a field goal try? And if it's a field goal try, that would mean that Rangel would be kicking away from the 35-yard line.
In for the field goal attempt. Number 86, Juan Rangel.
45-yard attempt here for Rangel if he can get it through. The snap is there. The kick is up. The kick is on a line. It's got the distance. Can it go through the post? It cannot. Goes wide and to the right, and Rangel just ends up missing his first field goal try of the season. 12-11 left to go in the 4th quarter of play, and we stay at a scoreless tie. So East LA had a glorious opportunity there from Rangel, but it looked like it came off the side of his foot as he released, and it just kind of side-spun its way towards that right post, and finally just ended up going outside. So TJ McMahon and the Cerritos offense will take over at the 27-yard line. We'll see whether or not they can work their way out the field or East LA's defense can hold. He goes over towards the left to Javon Tucker, and Tucker drops it. It goes right through his hands, and it will be an incomplete pass. 2nd down and 10 to go from the 27.
Number 11, Aaron Hill of the Huskies.
The defensive line as a whole for East LA has a total of 2 sacks, both of them coming in the first half of play. They have forced 2 fumbles as well. One by Chris Jolly. One guy in the backfield, that's Rapati. McMahon looking all the way over to his right, selling to his right, he gets decked. The toss is over to the left-hand side where Tucker makes the catch at the 30. That ball was flung out there as TJ McMahon was leveled, but he still gets it to go all the way to the 30-yard line. Javon Tucker with an acrobatic play to get them down to the 25. And all of a sudden, Cerritos is within field goal distance. TJ McMahon runs back into the huddle. Not quite as fast as he was doing so earlier. And by leveled, I mean he got taken down by Blessing Tayala. McMahon with Ropati on his right. Tucker over to his left. Parks to his right, and Jones as well. The snap is there. McMahon looking for Jones. Parks diving catch. Is it made? It looks like they're going to award him the catch right at the 1-yard line. A flag comes in. Will we see pass interference against East LA, or will it be offensive pass interference? Those are the only 2 I can think of from the area that the flag was thrown. And it's a hold. but it's against the defense. So another holding penalty. It will be declined. Or will... From the way that East LA is acting, they believe that it was declined. And it is indeed. So that ball should be placed. Okay, if the holding penalty is declined, the ball should be placed at the 2. So they are enforcing the penalty. Okay, there we go. Now they're walking it out. Just had to get that under wraps. 11:19 left to go in the fourth quarter. We've seen this before with Cerritos. Took place at the Southern California Bowl last year against Golden West. But this is a huge critical moment in this ball game. Cerritos is inside the 5 of East LA. The East LA defense has to hold here. They're trying to figure out what the spot of the football will be. And they're going to put the ball down at the 4-yard line. So East LA has to hold here. Cornerback on the far side of the field is Aaron Hill. Near side of the field, they're going to put in Maletasi Sofa. Here's McMahon, telegraphing, left-hand side, Tucker in the end zone, touchdown. Cerritos gets on the board, and it's a touchdown for the Cerritos Falcons. Cerritos, Javon Tucker, who had looked pretty electric all afternoon. There is a flag. The touchdown is official. Personal foul after. And it will be enforced on the kickoff.
The touchdown stand. Rubbing the passer is the indication of the marked off on the
Paul Rodriguez on the field to take the extra point for Cerritos. Rodriguez will realign with everybody and TJ McMahon as well. Rodriguez out of Troy High School, now a sophomore for Cerritos, attempting the extra point. He was 28 for 32 last year, puts it up, and he will put it through. Paul Rodriguez puts up the extra point, and it's a 7-0 ball game. Cerritos with the lead with under 11 minutes to go. Now, if you're East LA, you're thinking to yourself, how do we get on the board? We have to be able to get ourselves a touchdown before this is over. You had the Juan Rangel kick earlier that went wide right. You need a touchdown here, and Rudy Garcia, I believe, is the key to do that. You have seen the, we'll say, electric chemistry he has with Cedric Hood. Each time that he has gone to Cedric Hood, it has been for a gain of over 12 yards or more. The question is, can they protect Rudy Garcia enough for him to allow his throws to get in the air? All he needs is about 3 to 4 seconds to get that ball out of his hands and into the air. And we'll see whether or not East LA can put up a reply here. Cerritos works down the field. They go from their own 27-yard line, and they work it all the way into the end zone, also assisted by a 44-yard catch by Javon Tucker, and Tucker would end up finishing it off with a 4-yard touchdown strike. And if my math is correct, that should be 73 yards that they march downfield in just under 2 minutes of play, and Cerritos takes the lead 7-0. 10:58 on the clock here in the fourth quarter with the personal foul, roughing the passer that was enforced on the kickoff. It will be placed at the 50-yard line.
From the 50-yard line.
East LA, little bit of a hole. They have to reply soon. They no longer have the luxury of saying, well, we've got some time to work with. Again, 10:58 left in this ball game altogether. Ball is kicked away. That's going to go all the way through the end zone with a little difficulty. So Petruescu gets it all the way through. It's going to go and get placed at the 25-yard line after the touchback. And East LA And Rudy Garcia will have to figure out this Cerritos defense.
25-yard line, 10:58 left in the contest.
Both teams have 3 timeouts. Rudy Garcia goes back out there. He ended up subbing in place of Wesley. This is going to go to Garcia. Bad snap. He still gets it off, and it will be tossed down the middle and incomplete. It goes in and out of the hands of Brandon Peterson. So Brendan Peterson has that in his hands at the 40-yard line, and it goes and ends up working its way to the floor. 10:49 left. So that takes about 9 seconds, 7 seconds off the clock to be exact. Ball is at the 25-yard line, 2nd down and 10 to go. East LA needs yardage, and they need it quickly. Garcia with Rams over to his left-hand side. He's got Hood wide over towards the right. And Watkins, it's going to go quick slants over to Watkins, who gets taken down quickly by some pretty heavy pressure that was presented by Etienne Valele. So Valele with the tackle. Clock continues to tick down. And after a 5-yard gain, it's 3rd and 5 to go. East LA needs a 1st down here. Still time on the clock, but they need to put up a reply. Garcia deep down the sideline. He's got Watkins. Watkins with the hesitation. He's going to go down the sideline. 10-5 touchdown East LA. The hezi that he puts on Trevion Ballard. And East LA not only has their reply, but they've got a touchdown. They are an extra point away from tying this one up. A huge strike that is presented for nearly 70 yards. 67-yard strike out to Watkins over to the left from Rudy Garcia. And it is a touchdown for East LA. Juan Rangel on to attempt the extra point. Etienne Valele waving his arms around. He's not going to go for it, and this will go right through the uprights to tie it up. So we had essentially no offense for the first 3.5 quarters. And now all of a sudden we have offense galore in the last 2 minutes of play. A 73-yard drive by Cerritos is then followed up by a 67-yard touchdown toss from Rudy Garcia to the awaiting arms of Justin Watkins, the 6', 185 freshman out of East Ridge, Florida. Watkins just didn't give Ballard any chance whatsoever after he pulled the hesitation at the 40-yard line, and it was all daylight from then on out. 10:07 left to go in the 4th quarter. It's a tie ball game at 7-7. Cerritos in a conference and league, specifically the Southern, that includes Fullerton College, in addition to Mount Sac, El Camino as well, and San Diego Mesa. Juan Rangel is going to have a chance to kick it away from the 35-yard line. 10:07 remaining in this one. 7-7 tie is where we sit as East LA gets themselves on the board. Kicked over towards the far left-hand side of the field where it will be picked up for a second. There's the ball out. It looked like Ismael Lopez had dropped it. East LA says they have it. Who has possession? There's a flag in the backfield. Who has possession? The referee's trying to sort it out. East LA still can't find it. Do the Huskies have the football? Still waiting. Referees, no signal thus far. Two different guys fighting for it. We still have no signal.
That was number 13.
We're going to see what the call is on the field. They did not signal who had the football. It's going to be a hold going against Cerritos. But Cerritos did, in fact, recover. So East LA thought that they had it. There was indeed a fumble, dropping that one on the return. Ended up being Brazil Smith. Or rather, excuse me, Darius Lawson. But East LA came oh so close to really changing everything in this one. Nonetheless, they do end up seeing Cerritos take the ball at the 8-yard line. TJ McMahon under center. He's got Carl Odom behind him. McMahon rolling over to his right. He ends up finding CJ Parks. Parks trying to go against one guy, trucks into him, and he will end up working his way to the sideline.
Number 5 on the reception, CJ Parks. Knocked out of bounds by the Huskies. Number 20, Devon Callahan.
So that will end up being a gain of 12 yards right to the 20-yard line. 9:35 left. East LA College 7, Cerritos 7. Ryan Osborn joined by Albert Robles over to my left. Here's Carl Odom. Odom looking over to his right, gets run into by his own guy. That's going to bring out a flag from the line judge on the near side of the field. This would be penalty number 21. We'll see what it is here in just a moment. It's almost comical at this point. That is holding call number 14. We hadn't seen one in a while, but all of a sudden we have two in the last 25 seconds of play. And that's going to push back Cerritos all the way to the 12-yard line. 9:14 left. Clock's going to restart as we get to under 9 to go. East LA watches Cerritos walk up to the line of scrimmage. East LA is going to go with a cover 1. Everyone else is man-to-man on the outside. Huskies showing blitz. They move it over towards the right-hand side in Tucker. Tucker makes one man miss. He's got only one more guy to go. He's got blockers in front of him and finally gets taken down at the 43-yard line. A huge pickup there for Tucker and the Huskies. That goes from the 12-yard line up to the 43, and it will be a 31-yard pickup. So just when East LA had them pinned inside of their own 10, Cerritos picks up a first down. They have another one as well, and Javon Tucker is really making a case for being the Offensive Player of the Week in the SCFA. Under 8:15 to go here in quarter number 4. 7-7 tie. TJ McMahon in the backfield. He'll take the handoff, goes down the middle. Tucker diving, and he will not make the catch as that hits the turf. Start to feel the excitement boiling up just a little bit more here in this fourth quarter of play. All the scoring has happened here in the fourth quarter of play. In fact, from 10:45 on the clock to 10:07 on the clock, we had 2 touchdowns. That was more than we saw the previous 3 quarters combined. We had no score whatsoever through quarters 1, 2, and 3, and 5 minutes into the fourth quarter of play. And all of a sudden, 2 straight touchdowns, and both of these 2 teams are driving. Here's TJ McMahon to Ropati. Ropati with some open space. Ropati to the 40. Ropati moving over to the 30. Now he's down at the 20, and he is going to be brought down at the 19-yard line. Ropati with a huge pickup as he ends up going for 33 yards down the field, and with under 8 to go, Cerritos is threatening once more. TJ McMahon, joined by Brandon Jones on the left-hand side and CJ Parks. Javon Tucker is wide out to the right. He's got Ropati in the backfield with him. He is in the gun. He'll take the snap, goes to Ropati, left-hand side. He's got some open space, decides to cut it back over towards the right-hand side, goes through some contact. Now down at the 5-yard line. And all of a sudden, after a 15-yard gain, Cerritos is back inside the red zone.
Hinckley Ropati, number 3 for the Falcons.
So Ropati brings it down to the 5, and it will be first down and goal to go.
Down to the Husky 5-yard line.
Clock is ticking down to under 7 minutes left. A 67-yard strike from Rudy Garcia to Justin Watkins, tied it up with 10:07 to play. But now inside the 5 are Cerritos. Threatening to score once more, here's TJ McMahon. He'll take it into his arms. Now over to Odom. Odom cuts back over to his right, reaching for the end zone, and he'll be marked down just inches away from the goal line. Line judges decide that he ended up having his knee down closer to the 2, while his arms were outstretched right at the half-yard line. Now you're going to have Etienne Valele, who comes into the backfield. He's going to act as a fullback, in addition to a couple more tight ends who join as well. I formation for Cerritos. Going into movement, tight end over towards the right-hand side. It goes to Odom. Can Odom get there? He's marked down at the goal line once more. Nope, they will give him the touchdown. So a late call from the near sideline judge, and it is a touchdown call. 6:04 left to go, and Cerritos gets back on the board. It's now 13-7. So initially we had the far sideline judge who decided that he had been marked down inside of the 1 once again. And then you had the near sideline judge who ran in and said, nope, that is a touchdown for certain. Paul Rodriguez on to attempt his second extra point of the afternoon. Rodriguez gets it up. Does he get it through the uprights? Yes, he does. So Paul Rodriguez is 2 for 2 as there are a couple of flags on the field. And it looks like we may have unsportsmanlike calls. Will they both be against Cerritos, or will it be one from each side? The call is a touchdown on one end, and it will be an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty going against Cerritos. Officials still giving explanations up to the booth, and it will just be a single unsportsmanlike, and it looks like it will be enforced on the kickoff. Which, if you're East LA, you're happy about that. Six minutes and 4 seconds showing here in the fourth quarter. Ball is going to go all the way back to the 20-yard line. So if you're East LA, this is a glorious chance to get yourself some good field position. You're currently down 14-7. One touchdown to tie it. Petruescu going to kick off.
Petruescu will kick off from the 20-yard line.
Here's Petruescu, puts his right boot through it, end over end all the way back to Watkins. Watkins at the 10, he reels back. Watkins deciding he wants to go over towards the right-hand side. He's going back. There's going to be a foul, so whatever happens, it will be brought back, as it should be an illegal block in the back coming up on penalty number 22 in this game.
There is a flag back at
5:55 left. The call is indeed going to go against East LA. And it will be a first down going to the Huskies. So can the Huskies get themselves back on the board and tie it up? It's 14-7, Cerritos with the lead. 5:55 left to go here in the fourth quarter. Live here on SportsNetUSA.net. A reminder that East LA is not the only team playing right now on SportsNetUSA.net. 7 o'clock start over at LA Valley. Aaron Rosenberg live on the call over in Van Nuys. Busy day for SportsNetUSA.net as we had Fullerton College and the Battle of the Booths with Golden West. Rashawn, Mark, and Corey all out there as Fullerton ended up winning that one. Now we have East LA and Cerritos and LA Valley in their home opener as well. This is going to go Rudy Garcia, far sideline, where he will look for Cedric Hood, and he does find him. The catch is made, and that will move the sticks. If you're East LA, you're trying to work yourself upfield as quickly as possible, but also pay attention to the clock. The clock should stop if you get a first down until the ball is placed. That's the college rule. 5:30 left to go in the fourth quarter of play. 14-7 is the score, 7-point ups for Cerritos. The East LA Huskies need to reply. This is going to be a handoff to Robinson. Robinson finds some open space. Robinson still going past one, still going past two, and finally ends up getting himself down to the 35-yard line. It will be a 12-yard pickup. Multiple flags come rushing in as we will see who the call is against. It's going to be a dead ball foul. So after the play, personal foul going against Cerritos. And it looked like it came well after as well. You could hear the crowd just ooh and ah. Crowd of, we'll say, at least a couple hundred on hand. 5:13 left. Clock still ticking down. 14-7 is our score. Ball is placed at the 50-yard line. East LA needs to capitalize on the fact that they do have the first at the 50, and they're moving the ball up the field. Roms is going to be in the backfield. He's got Cedric Hood in the slot on the left-hand side. Watkins going into motion. They fake it to Watkins. Nope, they do give it to Watkins. Watkins decides to dive right around the right hash mark, and another flag comes flying in. Albert Robles and I were talking at halftime, kind of teasing about the throwing mechanics of these referees. That flag came from the 25-yard line and landed at the 45. So a 20-yard toss for these officials. A face mask penalty going against Cerritos. That'll be an automatic 15 in addition to a first down. So now East LA finds themselves with penalties to their advantage, moving them up the field. Ball is now at the 32-yard line of Cerritos. A field goal does nothing for you in this situation. Now, during the entire time that the officials were making the announcement, the clock was still running over to our right. 4:30 left to go here in the fourth quarter. Rudy Garcia over to his right. It goes in and out of the hands of his intended receiver, Brian Jones.
Garcia's pass incomplete. Pass was intended for number 5, Brian Jones. Second and 10.
So now you got a second down and 10 to go. Ball at the 32-yard line. And it looks like a timeout will be taken by Cerritos. We'll get the official word on who took the timeout, as that could have ramifications coming up here in the last 4 minutes of play. And it is indeed Cerritos who takes the timeout. So with 4:21 left to go, it's 14-7. Cerritos with the lead, but East LA is driving down the field. You are watching and listening to East LA College Football here on SportsNetUSA.net. Ryan Osborn, joined by Albert Robles over to my left-hand side. I want to thank him for making sure that we get up on the air. Scoring recap in this one, there was nothing through the first 3 quarters of play except a lot of penalties. Then to start off the 4th quarter, Cerritos drove 73 yards down the field in just about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and they capped it off with a 4-yard touchdown strike from TJ McMahon over to Javon Tucker. Just 42 seconds later, however, East LA gets on the board with a 67-yard touchdown pass going from Rudy Garcia over to Justin Watkins just a few moments ago. As we'll get to that in just a moment, 14-7 is our score. Rudy Garcia going back. He's got a lot of time to throw. He ends up not able to duck away from one, but he does get taken down after a gain of 1. Etienne Valele is there with heavy pressure. But just moments ago, Cerritos punches it in from 4 yards out. And the Falcons with a 14-7 lead thanks to Carl Odom's touchdown run. East LA needs to convert here. It's 3rd down and 9 to go. They had an incomplete pass on their first attempt. Just now a rushing attempt for 1 yard. Rudy Garcia with a 4-wide set. He's going to move back. Some pressure. Now moves over to his right, but short arms it, and that's going to hit the turf. He had a wide open receiver on the far side of the field, and that was Armando Velasco who was coming back for the football. And if you're East LA, a field goal, again, does nothing for you in this situation. You're looking at 4 down territory. You need a touchdown. 4th and 9. You do have all 3 timeouts, so in theory, if you do turn the ball over on downs, you have the opportunity to say to your defense, you got to keep us in it. However, it comes down to this 4th and 9 play. Can Rudy Garcia and the offense get them off the field? He's got Cedric Hood over to his left and Justin Watkins. Going into motion is one receiver. It's going to look over towards Watkins and intercepted! Taken away by the Cerritos Falcons, Noah Peterson. Peterson up the sideline. Peterson one man to beat, and he gets taken down at the 20-yard line. Rudy Garcia had a wide open receiver on the left-hand side, Brendan Peterson. However, it was a bait trap as Noah Peterson steps in front of that football after giving him some open space to look at. And with 3:21 left, it's an interception for East LA. And that will possibly be the backbreaker as it's a 7-point lead, 14-7 for Cerritos. And the ball is now going to stop at the 20-yard line of East LA. The defense needs a huge stop here, and they need to make sure that they don't allow Cerritos to get a field goal either. A field goal would make it a 2-possession game as well. TJ McMahon and the Cerritos offense going on the field knowing that they just need just about 1 first down. All 3 timeouts are remaining for East LA. TJ McMahon with Ropati behind him. Over to his right is Javon Tucker. He's already got a touchdown catch. Left-hand side is Parks. He's looking for Tucker. Corner of the end zone. Caught. Touchdown, Cerritos. McMahon looked at Tucker the entire way there, and it will end up being a touchdown for Cerritos. And not only does Cerritos capitalize on the interception by Rudy Garcia, but they end up making it 20-7, and with the extra point, Paul Rodriguez has a chance to make it 21-7. (20-7) is our score. Extra point is up, and Rodriguez is able to get it through. So Rodriguez goes 3 for 3 on extra points this afternoon. And it's 21-7 and a 2-score game. And all of a sudden, Cerritos just may have put this one out of reach. We will see whether or not East LA has something up their sleeve. They had that huge 67-yard strike Can they find something like that again here?
Kickoff for the Falcons.
Petruescu with 3:12 showing on the clock.
Number 42,
That's all that
Rangel.
East LA has to work with. They do have all 3 of their timeouts.
Back to receive for the Huskies. Javon Tucker, number 7, and number 14, Bo Derives.
So Voss Price, in addition to Justin Watkins, both back to receive for East LA. Petruescu checking up on his line. Now he's going to kick it away. High end over end, and it goes all the way over to the left-hand side to Price. Price decides he wants to bring it out of the end zone, and there's a flag coming in from behind the play. Maybe make it 2 of them, as there is some jousting going on the near side at the 32. And then there was one that came in from the line judge all the way at the 7-yard line. So it should be 2 calls coming up, and we will see what the White Hat has to say about this. Call number 1 will be a hold going against East LA on the return. And we'll see what flag number 2 is. Or are they just going to pick that one up? Looks like they will just pick it up, so it will be a hold. Subtract 10 yards from that return. Ball gets placed at the 6, and this is some pretty tough field position coming up for East LA. 3:05 left to go here in the 4th quarter of play.
Number 3, Rudy Garcia.
East LA Huskies need 2 scores in the next 3:05. 21-7 is the score. Cerritos up by 2 scores. You're on SportsNetUSA.net. You're watching and listening to East LA Huskies football, and Cerritos, with the luxury of the lead, will take a timeout. So they only have 1 left after this. And again, 3:05 left in this one. 21-7, Cerritos up by 14. You are watching and listening to East LA College football on SportsNetUSA.net. Ryan Osborn, Albert Robles over to my left-hand side. Technical director this afternoon, as East LA is going to need something quickly. Last time we said that East LA needed a reply. They got a 67-yard strike from Rudy Garcia. They're going to have to go back to Garcia. Yes, he did throw a pick on that last opportunity. However, he has looked good ever since subbing in. That is his only turnover of this afternoon. He's got 1 pick. He's got 1 touchdown toss. 3:05 left. It will go to Robinson. Robinson gets taken down, and he's going to be forced back towards the end zone after getting stuffed at the 6-yard line. So he may have gotten about a half a yard, but that's about it, and the clock continues to tick down. We're under 2 minutes and 50 seconds to play.
Brought down by number 12, Malik Skipper.
Next chance goes to Robinson. Robinson, some open space, and finally gets taken down from the side at the 19-yard line. Tackle is going to be credited to Kavil Brown at a Mountain Point High School in Phoenix, Arizona. 2:10 left to go. Snap is there. Rudy Garcia still looking for a chance. He's going to toss it out of bounds after getting decked. Or shall I say before getting decked. And now we switch to 2:01 left to go in this one. The clock will stop with the incomplete pass. Munguia will be in the slot on the left-hand side. He'll be joined by Jamal Evans. Far side of the field. Now you've got 3 receivers in addition to Justin Watkins. Munguia switches over. Goes to Watkins. Watkins gets decked, and it will be an incomplete pass. So the clock will stop with 1:54 to go. 2nd down and 10 from the 19-yard line. And if the score would remain the same, it means that Cerritos would open their season 1-0, and East LA would unfortunately drop to 0-1. One minute and 54 seconds left in this one. 3 timeouts remaining for East LA. Garcia tosses it into the air. It is picked off, and picked off by Cavillo Brown. So that will be the second interception for Rudy Garcia. And if you're Cerritos, you have a chance now to just close this one out.
Falcons will take over at 1:45 of the fourth period.
.145 left, and if you're Cerritos, you're probably thinking that at this point you're going to see a knee here and just try and run out the clock. Third interception of the afternoon for East LA, and unfortunately for the East LA Huskies, they just weren't able to get out of their own way on offense. They had plenty of chances, a total of 14 punts between the two sides. So this will be snapped back. Going back to passes, Jonathan Martin, he still stays alive, and he will get tackled at the 17-yard line. East LA will not be stopping the clock here.
Number 2, Jonathan Martin, and at quarterback for Cerritos.
Play clock will reset at 40 seconds once the ball is placed down. And with 1:24 left, our score 21-7. Looks like it may continue to be the final here this afternoon. Jonathan Martin in at QB. The only other time that he has entered was in the third quarter, where he ended up getting a high snap and dropping the football. Carl Odom had to recover. This will be encroachment against East LA, which follows with a 5-yard penalty. 57.6 to go. Under 50 seconds to play. Jonathan Martin goes for the end zone. Intercepted by East LA. Far side of the field. The Huskies get another takeaway. As taking that one away was Mari Rams, if I'm not mistaken. Nope, it looks like it's going to be Tristan LaRoselliere. 39.3 to go. He gets tackled in the end zone, so the ball gets placed at the 20-yard line. East LA with the takeaway. And at quarterback is Rudy Garcia. He had played pretty well. Finishes with over 100 yards passing, and playing just about 3 quarters total. .39.3, 21-7 is our score. It'll be a handoff that goes right up the middle, and it will be into the hands of Adrian Ochoa. And that's going to run us down to about the 15-second mark if East LA decides that they want to run one more play. Ochoa still in the backfield. 15 showing on the clock. Next opportunity to Ochoa. He drops the football, and Cerritos will pick it up with 5 seconds left to go. Make it 4.2 exactly, and it's another giveaway for East LA. So East LA with a total of 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles as well, 5 turnovers altogether. On the other side for Cerritos, they give the ball up a total of 3 times, 2 fumbles and an interception. 8 turnovers in between both of these two sides. The offenses did not look good. The defenses, however, did impress this afternoon, And here you will see a knee from TJ McMahon, and that's going to do it for this one. McMahon gets the snap, he'll take a knee, and East LA will drop game number 1 by a final score of 21-7. The East LA Huskies end up dropping this one to Cerritos. Cerritos goes to 1-0 this year. And East LA, next up, well, they're going to have to regroup as the East LA Huskies end up dropping to 0-1. So SportsNetUSA.net is going to be hosting a lot more of East LA's games coming up here. Our final is 21-7. Cerritos with the victory. We thank you for joining us here on SportsNetUSA.net. For Albert Robles, I'm Ryan Osborn, thanking you once again. Final score, 21-7. East LA drops it to Cerritos. You've been watching East LA football on SportsNetUSA.net.